Next up is a for loop. Unlike a while loop which checks on a given condition in order to repeat a set of actions in the body, or we simply call this repeat of actions an iteration. The iteration of a for loop in programming is based on the number of times we want it to carry out. Now in Python, the iteration of a for loop depends on how many items are in a collection of items. Let's understand how a Python for loop works with an example. To use a for loop, you will need to include a keyword for, followed by a temporary variable name, for example, letter, and another keyword int, then the collection of items. So for example, the collection of items in this case is a set of strings, and we call this Singapore, bounded by a set of quotation mark, followed by a colon. And when you hit enter, 4 white spaces will automatically be indented, and then we enter the body of code. So in this body of code, let's perform something really simple by printing the letter, and let's execute the program. So each item in this collection each item in this collection, starting from the letter S, actually entered into the main body, and Python will perform a print action for each of these items until the very last item, which is the letter E. Alright, so a collection, once again in this case, is simply just a set of strings. It can also be a set of numbers, and we will look at numbers later on. Now, the word letter in the collection acts like a temporary variable to represent the items, each item in the collection. It does not matter how you name this variable. For example, we can call this another name, say alphabet, right? And remember to change it in the main body as well. So for alphabet in Singapore, print alphabet, right? It will still print exactly what we asked the for loop to do, and yet we still give it a relevant name to this set of collection, because this set of collection is simply a set of letters, right? You wouldn't want to call this number. So if you change this to number, it would still work, but now this name is not reflective of the collection of items. All right. So a more Pythonic way in this case is to write a for loop is to give this temporary variable a more relevant name. And this int is simply a membership expression to the collection. All right. Let me just change this back to letter. Okay. Now, notice that a for loop does not check for conditions like a while loop. It simply iterates through the number of items a collection has to the end. Okay. Now, perhaps since you have learned the topic of strings, a string actually would have a inherited method of, say, upper. All right. And we can use this upper method for each of this item in the collection. And when we execute this, we will use this upper method to convert lowercase letter to an uppercase. Okay.